Wow. Wow. So if you've watched any of my previous cooking videos, you know that my style of cooking is typically that I kind of just throw things together in the pan and hope that it comes out right. And there are two reasons why I typically don't use recipes when I cook or cookbooks when I cook. And that's because, well, one, a lot of recipes in cookbooks have a ton of oil and butter and are generally not really healthy for you. But the second thing is that there have been many times that I've made a recipe, I followed it to the T, and it is flavorless. I literally 2 days ago made some lamb skewers. It required a 24-hour marinade. I marinated it overnight and it still had zero flavor. But WW just came out with a new cookbook called Homecoming that celebrates the foods and traditions from all across the African and Black diaspora. The recipes from the Caribbean, the recipes from the African continent, the recipes from the South. And I'm really excited to play around in the cookbook and cook the foods that I really love, which is essentially all Black food, or some of my favorite foods, but make them in a healthier and more nutritious way. So today I'm going to be cooking my very first recipe from the Homecoming cookbook, and that is going to be chicken yassa, or yassa chicken, which is a Senegalese dish. I would say after Nigerian food, Senegalese food is probably my next favorite type of African food. When I lived in Harlem had a huge Senegalese population. Every once in a while, you know, you just had to go to the Senegalese spot and get some yassa chicken. So I'm excited to try and make this on my own. I've never cooked yassa chicken before in my life, so we shall see. I'm gonna definitely be comparing WW's recipe and see how it compares to the ones that I know and I really grew to love when I lived in Harlem. So you guys are already familiar with my kitchen. Let's head on over there. But before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss any of my future videos. All right, let's get cooking. So I'm gonna walk you through all the ingredients that you need. First, you need nonstick spray. Then the recipe calls for a ½ cup of chicken broth. I actually always keep some chicken broth in the freezer, so it's really easy to get it when I need it. ½ cup of chicken broth. Uh-oh. All right, ½ cup of chicken broth. A tablespoon of lime zest and 1/3 cup of lime juice. I have really tiny limes here, so I'm probably gonna need all 3 of them. If it's not enough, I also have a lemon that I can supplement. You need 2 garlic cloves. I have maybe 4 cloves here. I might just end up using 3. It's a really small garlic, so whenever you're making a recipe, you know, keep in mind the size of the ingredients that you have. So if you need to add a little bit more or a little bit less, if your garlic is super small or super big, feel free to make those adjustments. You also need a 2-inch piece of ginger that is going to be peeled and finely chopped. I have obviously not done that yet, but I have my ginger out. You need Scotch bonnet or habanero chili. I have both. Again, I like pepper, so I'm going to add both of them, but depending on your pepper's tolerance, you might wanna adjust. You need salt and pepper, always have those. And the main thing in terms of what meat we're cooking chicken, so you obviously need some chicken breast. If this recipe calls for 4 skinless, boneless chicken breasts, it might have 5 in here, so I'm gonna make just a bit more than the recipe calls for. It also asks for 3 large onions. They need to be halved and thinly sliced. These onions are kind of medium sized, so I have 4 of them instead of 3. And the last thing you need is 3 tablespoons of yellow mustard or Dijon mustard, and I have my mustard here. Funny enough, I literally have never in my life cooked with mustard. So this is the first time. I don't even know why we have this mustard, because I surely haven't used it, but I don't know, maybe we had a hot dog one time and needed mustard for it. According to the instructions, it's a really quick recipe. It only requires 15 minutes of your cooking time. So there's a bit of prep time and obviously the marinating time, but if you're physical labor in terms of cooking, just 15 minutes. So a very quick recipe to kind of prepare ahead of time and then have something really nutritious and heart healthy for you and your family. So this is a quick hack. Instead of chopping ginger, just grate ginger. You can also do the same thing with garlic. So now that I have prepped all of my food, it's actually time to get started on the marinade. So we need to whisk the broth, the lime zest, and so this is the broth, this is the lime zest and juice, and add the garlic, ginger, and chili. So I'm going to just salt. How much salt? A tablespoon, not tablespoon, wow, that's a lot of salt. A teaspoon, which is about 2 pinches of salt. A teaspoon of pepper. Whisked that together, and now I'm going to add the chicken and onions. And these are massive. Oops. Oh my God, you know, it'd be so sad if everything just fell on the floor. Oh my gosh, I would have cried. I would have been so sad. All right, so we have 5 chicken breasts. Good. Okay, so onions. You do not want anything to go to waste. Now I'm going to toss to coat everything in that beautiful marinade. You know what? It's just faster to use your fingers sometimes. So I'm gonna take off the rings and get in there. Oh my gosh, see all of that flavor? Look at that seasoning. You already know this is gonna be good because it's just seasoned, well seasoned. I can smell the pepper. Ooh, I can smell the heat. I can smell the chilies. I can smell the lime. The garlic's also there, the ginger. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I am so excited for this dish. I cannot wait to taste it. So now that I'm done making the marinade and mixing the onions and chicken with the marinade, I just need to cover this and put it in the fridge. I think most people, when they cover stuff, use cling film. I actually just gonna use a pot cover because I wanna be sustainable and not contribute plastic to the environment. So an hour has now passed, actually an hour and a half. So I'm gonna grab the chicken from the fridge and put it on the fire. It smells so good. The smell is so strong, so fragrant, so I already know it's going to be delicious. So, next steps is to coat a large 12-inch cast iron skillet, a must-have in every kitchen, and we're gonna coat it with some non-stick spray that we had here. And then turn the heat on medium. And then remove chicken. I feel like I inhaled some of that. Gonna remove the chicken from the marinade. And you allow the liquid to drip back. So you're trying to get the chicken without any onions on it. So I'm gonna clean the onions off the chicken. Might have to do this in batches because there is quite a lot of chicken, but put my first piece of chicken down. Grab another piece of chicken, remove as many onions as you can. Put this one down. And I should be able to fit one more. So the first batch of chicken is done. It smells so good. Look at that. Look at that brownness. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm just gonna take this off and then I'm going to do the second batch of chicken. So the chicken is all ready. They are nice and brown. So now I'm just going to put the onions, making sure to kind of shake out the marinade because you're going to use that separately. So I'm just going to bring out all of my onions. This smells delicious. So as my onions are just quickly cooking down, I'm going to add in my 3 tablespoons of mustard right into the marinade. That was maybe like 1.5. Okay. Going to just stir that into the marinade. Look at how beautiful that is. All right, now the recipe says to stir the onions, scraping up any brown bits, because that is flavor. Wow. Okay, and then when we add the chicken back in, let's see if I can fit all these chicken. This was actually a really easy recipe. I'm like so impressed, and it smells so good. My gosh. All right, so the last thing is to cook until the chicken is cooked through. Marinade has mostly evaporated, about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm gonna do my little cleanup. I'm just gonna let it kind of sit there and have all of the juices marinate together. Smells so nice. So the recipe says to cook through until the marinade is mostly evaporated, and we have definitely reached that point. So I'm going to pull out 1 piece of chicken. This one is calling my name. Oh my gosh. Look at how it's like already falling off. Shredding. I'm gonna add a couple of onions on top just to get the full vibe. I cannot wait to dig into this. So finally, I'm gonna taste my chicken yassa. I will say that my chicken didn't get as brown as the chicken in the cookbook. I was a little impatient, I must say, but it is incredibly soft. So I'm gonna take my first bite. I'm so excited. I wanna make sure that I have onions in my mouth alongside chicken. So I'm gonna grab onion, grab chicken. Wow. So much flavor. Woo! Wow. I may have overdone it on the pepper, but Senegalese food is a bit spicy, so I feel like this is authentic. Wow. Wow. This is really delicious chicken. It's a great rendition of yassa chicken that anyone can make. You don't have to be Senegalese. I'm not Senegalese. You don't have to be West African to make it, but it is packed with flavor. Oh my gosh. The garlic, the ginger, slow cooking the onions. I love softly cooked onions. Even the mustard. You know, remember I was saying that I have never cooked with mustard before, but it adds a kick in the back that I feel like really brings it to life. So I'm going to enjoy my chicken. And you guys, if you're interested in this recipe or any of the other many recipes that are in the Homecoming cookbook, I'll have the link in my description box for where you can find the cookbook and how you can start making some of these recipes. One thing I forgot to say is that this entire piece of chicken is just 1 smart point on the purple plan, which is the plan that I'm on WW. It's 4 points on green, 1 point on blue, and 1 point on purple. Now, obviously, if you eat it with rice, you're gonna have to add points for that, but wow. So much flavor. I'm gonna have to let y'all go because I gotta keep on eating. But make sure that you subscribe to my channel, like this video if you liked it, and leave me a comment. Let me know, have you ever cooked yassa chicken? Have you ever cooked Senegalese food? Have you ever made food from a cookbook? And if so, what were your thoughts? Sorry that I'm talking my mouth full. I know that's a little bit rude, but I just cannot stop eating this food because it's that delicious. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.